Months ago, this city was the venue for the Winter Olympic curling event, but today we're here for the opening day of the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. I'm Hans Frauenlob, and I'm joined by Sander Rolwagen. Good evening to you, Sander.
Good evening, Hans.
Teams here are looking to qualify for the World Men's and Women's Curling Championships as we move inside. For our feature match tonight in the men's competition, it will be Korea facing China. First draw of the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. 9 nations competing in the men's competition. Let's meet Team Korea. At lead, Lee Dong-hyung. At second, Lee Jong-jae. Playing at third, Jeong Byung-jin. And the skip, Kim Soo-hook. They're taking on China. At lead, Jang Dongju. Xiao Jilin is playing at second stone. Wang Jieyu is playing at third. And the skip, So Xiao. Here are the participating teams: Australia, China, Hong Kong, Japan, Kazakhstan, Korea, New Zealand, Qatar, and Chinese Taipei. They will play a single round robin competition here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. Top 4 will advance to the playoff round. Here are the Session 1 matchups. Sheet A, our feature match, Korea versus China. On Sheet B, Kazakhstan takes on Hong Kong. On Sheet C, Chinese Taipei versus Qatar. And on Sheet D, Japan is taking on Australia. Teams are greeting each other before the match. And Sander, as the teams take their warm-ups, first game of the competition is always something the teams are anxious to get underway, aren't they?
Yeah, it's always good to come off to a good start. They've had their practice today, but sometimes the ice is a little different when the game starts, and it might change a bit when they'll end up sweeping a lot more than in practice. So we'll see what team copes with that the best. It's also interesting to see some new faces, especially after an Olympic cycle. Some teams or some players retire, some new come in. So it'll be exciting to see how these teams play this evening.
Sure will. Korea will be playing the red stones. China will be playing the yellow stones. There we see in the background the little hammer symbol beside Team China. That means they have last rock advantage in the first end. So it will be Korea to get us underway. Lee Dong-hyung, 21 years of age, playing at lead. Nice and tight to the rings in the free guard zone. So Jiao indicating to his lead player, Jang Dongju, he'd like to come around. 25 years old, lead player for China.
First thing that was apparent in practice today, there's a lot of movement, a lot of curl in the ice. So you'll see the brush of the skip being placed fairly wide out in the 12-foot, almost to the edge. There's a great finish coming in at the end.
Big late finish indeed. That one cozies up right behind the guard, right on the tee line. Fantastic.
Yeah, almost pops out the other side there, actually.
Almost too good.
Yeah, you might see that sometimes the first day of competition. The stones might be scratched, maybe a little aggressive. So you might need to put some additional rotation on them. But even though you do that, sometimes you see the stones lose its handle at the end. And sometimes that evens out a little bit after a few games.
Certainly keep an eye on that through the week. This set of stones, the stones that were used at the Olympic Games in February. Stone comes to the back of that white 8-foot circle. It's a good chance here for China. Duck another one around that center. I really like to throw this one almost exactly where he threw his first one. Right in front of it. Sweepers are working this one. They think it's light. Oh, nice brushing there by the Chinese duo. Dragging that into second shot position. Here are the rules of play. 6 ends minimum, 10 ends scheduled. 38 minutes of thinking time. Each team has 1 60-second timeout. And we are playing the 5-rock free guard zone. Even though that stone was a guard, you can of course run your own stone into the rings, and Korea trying to just open things up a bit, Sander.
Yeah, the mixed doubles discipline, you're not allowed to remove your own stones, but in the team play you can. Just trying to tidy things up after a bit of a bad start. But left a corner guard now for China.
Xiao Xulin, 23 years old. Still has outstanding hair. Three of the players from this Chinese team were the silver medalists at last year's Pacific Asia Championships in Australia. Xiao was one of those three. Consecutive years we've been in beach cities, Sander, for the Pacific Asia Championships.
Erina a year ago.
That's right.
Central coast of Australia.
That's right.
Not quite as warm here, but pretty mild and sunny so far.
Li Jiangjie makes the hit. Doesn't quite remove the other Chinese stone, but does leave the Korean rock sitting half in front. It's in kind of an annoying place for Zhou Jiao to deal with. He'll make a play at it, though.
I'm trying to get some separation this time. Don't want to hit and sit right there, leave a double for Korea, so trying to make the hit here roll away.
Yes, hard.
Does jam and remove his own stone.
Plan B.
Yeah, maybe half buried.
And that first draw of his didn't curl enough, so maybe thinking I was a bit straight coming down the center.
Kim So-hyuk holding the target for Cheong Myeon-jin. Trying to run back. That one didn't quite curl enough. Blows it by the Chinese stone. Does open it up. And that's something you often see too. When the stones are moving aggressively early in the week, as you indicated, Sander, sometimes they can get fooled when they step the weight up and it tracks a little straighter than they thought.
Yeah, quite often the big weights will run very straight, even though the draws curl a lot.
Wang Xiu.
So some teams try to do the exact same in terms of technique and release, no matter where they go, but I think you see most teams try to adapt a little bit to the conditions in terms, especially of the release of the rock. And sometimes it just takes a little time getting used to a new surface.
Nice shot there by Wang, sitting directly in front of the Korean stone in the back of the rings. China lies 2. They've got the hammer here in the first.
You're going to play the upweight here.
Trying to rattle them around. It's got 1, moves 2, pops it sideways. Will it spill? Yes, it does. Nice shot.
wasn't quite sure if that was going to go their hands, but seeming like the rings are very keen. Stone's quite lively. Caught that quite thick, and still that yellow just spins off. Easy as nothing. So I think we'll be in for some big weight.
Bit of pinball.
Triple, quadruples this week, potentially. Ice looking really good so far.
Yeah, sure is. China trying to draw the wing, get some separation between their shots. It's going to slide past the tee. Is it going to stay in the rings? No, it slides through. So there's a mistake by the Chinese and a sigh of relief, I think, for the Team Korea.
We see that happen sometimes. You play a lot of draw towards that forefoot, towards that button area, thinking, well, maybe it's a bit slower coming out to the wing. You haven't played there as much. You add a little hot sauce, and there you go, through the rings.
You see the target brush for Korean skip. Kim Soo-hyuk. He's the veteran in this team, age 34.
It's a completely new team for him. Going to teach these guys the ropes, potentially for a full Olympic cycle.
Nice shot there by Kim. Lots of experience, multiple world championships.
Yeah, I seem deemed to play the Olympic Games for Korea, but just lost the spot at the very end to Changmin Kim. I'm sure he's keen to perhaps have another crack at it.
Well, at age 34, coming into a new Olympic cycle, certainly lots of curling left in Kim Soo-hyuk, that's for sure. So Jiao, 27 years of age. Next Winter Olympics will be in China, in Beijing. Nose hit.
I've heard they've been putting some effort into improving the curling.
No, they certainly have. I was having a chat with one of China's coaches before the match, and he was telling me that they've got an enormous 6-sheet dedicated national training facility. They are now trying to groom 5 top flight teams in every Olympic discipline, and they're really, really stepping up the effort. So no surprise there. Being the
Bringing in
host.
some outside help.
Yep, Dan Raphael is coaching this Chinese men's team. And there will be other international coaches announced, I'm sure, in the future, working with the Chinese program. They've got ice technicians from Canada working in China, so they're doing everything possible to prepare a deeper field of teams for the lead up to the Beijing Olympics. Of course, the Pyeongchang Winter Games at this venue was enormously successful. It was the debut of mixed doubles curling, and what a successful event it was in Pyeongchang. Here is the final stone here on end number 1. Nothing in play.
Trading the free shots. Kim rolling out, so this is just a throw through. Doing this on purpose to keep the last on advantage.
Blank end in the first end. China will keep last rock for the second. After 1 end of play, we have no score.
라인 좋아.
넷, 다섯.
넷 다섯.
넷, 다섯.
잠깐만.
다섯 좋아.
아,
이거 들어갈 것 같아. 오케이. 기다릴게요.
아, 들어올 것 같은데. 웨이트.
잡고.
어우.
들어가요. 확실히 들어가.
First stone of the second end.
괜찮아. 더 들어와.
Our feature match, Korea versus China. Bringing the stone into the rings, bit surprised by that, Sander. Keeping it a bit conservative.
Yeah, I think a little bit. But China's going to throw the corner guard anyway. I think what you might see some teams do now with the 5-rock rule is you could hit this stone, roll to the wing, and if your opponent makes the hit, stays on the wing, you throw a corner, and you got some action going. So this 5-rock rule is changing the game a bit. In a nutshell, you just get to keep your guards for one rock longer, and it complicates things. I'm sure we'll get some good examples of that maybe later in the game if a team's chasing. Especially gives the lead a second chance. If you ever put that corner guard in the ring, you get to throw a second one and it's still protected by the now 5-rock rule. So it's a great addition to the game.
You sound like you know what you're talking about there, about that guard stone in the ring, Sander. In defensive leads everywhere.
I've seen you do that a few times, I think.
Well, there's 2 guards up. So not going to fall into the trap of going into the rings. He can see at least a half of the target rock, so China will make it play with the stone in the rings. Oh, little inside flop. Lovely. Here's the target brush. Trying a run back. This one's over curling. Blows it by. On the last end, we saw Lee trying to run back and it under curled, and that one over curled.
Yeah, and also leaves a stagger on the corner guard there. Not a great result. China can sink one in behind. Very hard to get to.
By hard to get to, you're meaning that the stagger makes it very difficult to run a stone in. It's impossible, really, if it's overlapped like that.
You make a play on the guards now. That yellow stone is angled away from whatever will be behind the guards.
Xiao then.
You saw him struggle to cross the center line on the first end.
Zhang and Wang switching back and forth, trying to carry it further, and now they're trying to finish it. That's a beauty. Great shot.
He's trying to keep him level as well, so there's no double. There might just be. You know, these guys can throw them quite hard, and you saw the ice, or the houses especially, be quite keen. So I think you might get quite a bit of action coming off this first one. Maybe I at least try to group them.
Lee Jung-jae, nose hits. You see the Korean coach's bench. Lee Jae-ho.
Recording this game for some post-game analysis.
Yeah, technology has really come into the sport in the last, well, 10 years, but the last 5 in particular. Almost every team will analyze their games on video. Whoa, we hear from Zhou Jiao. That stone spills off the rings. Xiang Xiping, coach for Team China. taking some notes old school.
Now we will see a play on these rocks. Now you see the yellow guard is angled away from the shot in behind, but if you maybe catch half of the red or less, you might see that yellow stone actually drag towards the stone behind. So much friction between the rocks, it actually might just drag a bit to the left, but not enough.
Just
over curled there.
Gets the roll to the front of the 8-foot.
I've caught that a little thinner. You might see that drag effect maybe clip that yellow, but it's in the open now at least.
Wang Xiyu. Trying to get some separation. Roll it a little bit to the wing. Still a chance for Korea to go cross house and maybe hit and roll and sit on top of the Chinese stone on the right of the picture. Jiang Byung-jing. On and off this one. There's the hit, there's the roll. Just a little bit underneath. Pretty good shot.
That is really good. Hard to do much better.
There's Jiang looking at his work. Nice shot.
You can't see all the rocks. Hard to get to. Always a risk you might overcurl, clip your own yellow. And even if you do make a perfect shot here, you probably leave an angle for a double.
Does clip the top stone, pops across. Sits in shot rock position, but leaves the Korean stone sitting in second shot position, so bit of a mistake there from the Chinese. Let's update Japan versus Australia. Yuta Matsumura. He's got one in the rings, drawing for a potential pair. No problem there for Matsumura. And Japan, they hang a deuce on the board, and they're up 2-0 after one.
Taking over. Japanese men's team spot.
We will see that Japanese men's team later in the tournament in our televised matches.
I've seen Morozumi for so many years. And there are some neat new kids on the block.
There certainly are. Although Morozumi's third player, Tetsuro Shimizu, is playing with this team this week, so there is one carryover player from the Morozumi team competing in this tournament. Here we see on the replay. Hits and rolls and leaves Korea lying two. Yep, had it all the way. Little pocket there, though. Those stones are behind the tee line, so chance for China to really just ignore the takeout and throw a stone in front of one of those two rocks, generate a pair that way.
Yeah, it's really important. It's really about what you leave their opponent. Of course, you can make a hit. It looks tempting to remove those red stones, but you'll make it a lot more harder for your opponent if you play a corner freeze here. The only real chance to score two in this end now for China.
So Xiao on the draw.
I think they talked about freezing the wide one, but not curling for them, so plan B, go to the back one. A little heavy as well.
Yeah, a little bump, some separation. So kind of in the middle there of two shot options. It didn't quite work out. China does lie one, but there is some separation for Korea to squeeze it out of there.
think they'll be too cute with this one. Just play the upweight, try and peel it out.
Yep, there's a risk of a jam on the stone in the back of the ring as the Chinese backhand looks on. As Kim Soo-hyuk trying to pick out the Chinese stone. Nicely played. So there's the force as Kim Soo-hyuk high-fives his teammates. And you hear us talking about a force. That's when you force your opponent to take a single point when they've got last rock. And the basics of strategy in curling, if you're new to the game, when you've got last rock, you're always trying to score multiple points. So when you don't have last rock, like the Koreans in this end, you're trying to prevent your opponent from scoring 2. So even though China's got a chance to score here, that would be a moral victory for Korea. A little heavy with the draw on the last end. Let's see if he can make the adjustment to score. Needs a piece of that 8-foot circle to score. They're really working this one. Are they there? I think it's light. Yes, it is. It's a steal of 2. After being heavy in the first end, coming up light on the final draw in the second, and it's a steal of 2 for Korea. After 2 ends of play, Korea breaks on top. They lead it 2-0.
지금 딱 정확하게 샷을 성공하려고 했어.
First stone of the third end into the button area. Korea with a big steal of 2 in that second end as Chinese skip Zhou Jiao coming up short with his final draw is a cheap steal for the Koreans and a bit of a surprise, Sanders. Just that adjustment after being heavy on a couple of draws.
Well, he was heavy on his first draw in that second end, drawing to the wing. So probably took a bit of weight off of it, but looked like they maybe hit a new track, although he should have been playing that path in practice for last stone. But maybe just a little bit outside, some fresh pebble caught them out. Tends to happen, especially in the first few ends. Sweepers didn't look that panicked at the start.
You're right. Big break for this young Korean team.
영진!
바로 바꿔가면 될 것 같아.
라인만 봐, 형님.
아, 라인룸이야.
셋! 정신 가도 돼.
세트업으로 줘. 조금만 더 와줘. 가까이 붙여줘, 조금만 더.
아, 조금만 더, 병진. 조금만
여기가
더.
조금만 더 있네.
조금만 더. 조금만 더.
왔어.
오케이.
Two guards up. covering maybe half of the shot rock. Chance here for Zhang on the intern side to make a play on the stone in the rings.
Clean.
稍微偏大一点。
Clean. Yep. Yep. Whoa.
稍微偏大一点。
Clean.
差不多。
Yep. Whoa.
差不多。
Whoa.
It's the second time we've seen that second guard under curl for the Koreans. So maybe that stone's a bit straighter, or maybe you get a bit more finish. Throwing the draws into the house. Sometimes if you throw a guard 10, 15 feet shorter, it's going to curl less. Sometimes it curls a bit more. It really depends on the ice a little bit.
Lee Jiangjai.
웨이트만.
천천히 천천히.
수행해줘. 라인 좋아.
와와. 히.
아, 김진아. 여덟.
라인 좋아.
여덟 아홉.
히.
Get a great look at the finish here. Now that's hanging out wide, and that is just going to finish so neatly at the end.
Cleared the guard by a good rock width, and look at that. Finishes almost fully buried. Big late finish.
Yeah, you wouldn't see that 30 years ago.
No, 30 years ago, you'd probably have corn brooms and a lot of things you wouldn't see. Xiao Xulin. Can't see as much of the target rock this time, so more of a draw. He can't play a bump. This one's tracking a bit wide. It's going to go by the target rock and slide deep in the rings. Will it stay in the rings? Yeah, just.
Big miss there. I mean, 6 feet heavy, but in truth, more than that, because you have two sweepers that can drag it at least 6 feet for you. So you want to throw it a bit short, leave the sweepers some room to work, carry it there for you. No reason to be 6 foot heavy.
And I wondered, Sander, on the shot choice on Zhao's first stone.
맞아.
You can see half the rock, and they threw kind of almost board weight at it instead of playing quieter weight and just maybe trying to keep stones in the rings. And I wonder if that had something to do with that adjustment. Net result is good opportunity here for Korea to protect that shot rock.
This one coming up short. Looked like they called the draw. I might have been mistaken, but it's also an okay option. China's coming out to peel.
China's got last rock advantage here in the third. They're trailing by 2. And it is bailout time here for Xiao Xulin. Kills one.
Need to be all careful with those up weights. We've seen them running very straight. Haven't seen a lot of those big shots over curl yet. Especially with the aggressive release the players have nowadays. It's almost like some players even take negative ice because they do pop them and float them a bit. So they kind of back up.
라인 괜찮아.
하나 둘.
하나 멀리 가자.
라인 름이야. 아직 름.
호구라인만 넘겨줘.
름.
아, 라인 좋아.
Jung Byung-jin
라인 괜찮아.
라인 끝.
trying to throw another guard.
라인은 좋아. 동영아, 조금만. 괜찮아. 괜찮아, 동영아.
Good separation between the guards.
So maybe the guard was the call after all, or maybe he just figured that was a good idea and went for it again.
It was the call. And let's have a look in at Kazakhstan taking on Hong Kong. Final stone for Zhuzhbai of Kazakhstan.
Нет! Валить! Не надо! Не надо! Вали! Не надо! Вали! Давай!
나이스 블리즈.
Single point there. That one's tied 1-up. So Korea seeming to be pretty happy just to keep those guards stacked up and protect that stone just off the button.
라인 괜찮아. 라인 좋아.
달려갈게요.
어?
나이스 좋아.
아, 오케이, 웨이트 굿, 웨이트 굿.
웨이트 끝. 와.
Jeong looks on.
잠시만.
라인만
얘들아,
내리.
아니 라인이 많아.
오케이.
동영아. 동영아 많이 와야 돼. 많이 와야 돼. 더
거기보다.
와야 돼. 더 와야 돼. 아, 오케이.
와,
잠깐만.
굿해.
잠깐 세트 쪽. 오. 굿샷. 굿샷.
샷. 세이프.
Great look at the protection of that shot rock, and now we see China shifting gears, Sander.
이게 나갔어야 되는데. 안 나갔어.
Not able to appeal those guards. Feeling it's time to maybe come into the house here. Indicating corner freeze. Could be a little risky. If you don't get shot stone here, you might see Korea just throw another guard. And not really any way to get to it. Only red guards out there at the moment. Be tempting to come and maybe bump it up a little bit. Try and sit shot, but it's quite hard to do as well.
Jiang and Xiao really working this one, trying to drag it as far as they can. It's going to come up short. Stones are accumulating for China, though, so there's some danger here for Korea. See that stone at the very back of the rings? We think that's biting, so China with the last rock. Korea doesn't want to set up cross house or some kind of a raised double takeout, or China could snap a 3 out of nothing.
홀딩해서 와야 돼.
Yeah, there's that yellow stone off the winger.
정진. 셋.
Kim Soo-hyuk makes his way down to the throwing end.
웨이트 괜찮아요.
Good look at the stone positioning. Red stone belongs to Korea. They're 2 up. Look how much ice he's taking, Sander. A lot of movement on these draws.
Yeah, can afford to almost undercurl a bit here as well.
너는 업. 와.
클린해. 괜찮아.
좋아, 라이벌.
클린해. 라인 좋아.
정진이가 와야 돼. 정진아
Sweepers
많이
were
와야
a bit
돼.
concerned about the weight.
정진아 계속 와야 돼.
Now they're worried a bit more about the line.
좀만 더.
조금만 더.
도와줘요.
Just to finish a bit more, can't leave too big of a port here. Might not be enough.
There's that yellow-red raise makeable on the intern side. As Kim
아,
Soo-hyuk
내가 너무 많이 돈다고 생각하고 있나 봐.
heads back down the ice. Might even be there on the outturn. That guard needed to curl another 3/4 of a rock.
Basically, the smaller that port becomes, the more weight you need to throw through it to get to the yellow. Less chance of sticking around, but I think you might see enough from the hack to make that raise and sit shot in behind the guards.
Great look at it there, just trying to hit it just on the brush side of the rock, drive it on an angle, and remove the Korean stone on the button. It's close. Perfect. Great shot.
Wow.
China lies 3.
What a turnaround. Korea has been guarding a shot stone all end. Now all of a sudden China with 3 counters.
Well, that was the danger of those stones accumulating, and China punishes the mistake of the Koreans not making the guard. And look at that. What a result. Shot stone perfectly buried behind the guards. Second shot buried behind the corner guard. Third shot at the back of the rings buried behind the front stones. And only 1 stone to come for Kim Soo-hyuk of Korea. Huge shot here.
Yeah, looking to freeze the shot stone. Still will leave a shot for 2. Sweepers on this very early.
계속 가야 돼.
야, 와야 돼.
It's damage control time here for Korea. They're just trying to cut down the damage, but this one is going to be light as well. Well short of the rings.
Yeah, not even close. What a surprise.
Wow, what a turnaround. Kim wide with his guard attempt. Zhao with a fantastic angle raise, and now Zhao has a draw for 4.
It's one of those hands. It's hard to say if Korea did anything wrong, really.
It's that dangerous game you play sometimes, though, when you're protecting one,
Yeah.
and you're kind of going all in on protecting one, and you make half a mistake, as the Koreans did, and boy, did China punish it. Final stone of end number 3. Shou Xiao just has to hit the paint, and China will score 4. Oh, no problem with the draw weight this time, right into that button area, and it is a big score of 4 for China. Wow, what a turnaround in this third end. China scores 4, and after 3 ends of play, they now lead it 4-2.
야, 나 너무 그냥 너무 잘 나간다 생각했는데. 아, 가드부터 잘못한 것 같아.
해봤자 2개 사실 이게 차이야.
자, 2점. 이런 파란드 경기라고 이런데 2점 주고 시작했다.
Fourth end of play here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018, our feature match, Korea versus China. And China throwing a 4 on the board in the third to grab a 2-point lead.
아, 괜찮아.
셋.
셋. 아이 좀 잡아줘. 얘들아, 좀 잡아줘.
셋.
We're at the Gangneung Curling Center. It was the site of the Olympic curling in the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. And the venue looks fantastic. We were here in February for the Olympic Games, and it's nice to come back to Gangneung. The success, Sander, of the Korean women's team at the Pyeongchang Games has really translated into a lot of interest from Korean fans that want to come into the venue and look at where the Garlic Girls won their silver medal and have a chance to throw on this ice.
Yeah, it seems to be a bit of a tourist attraction. Busloads coming in, get to throw one rock on the famous ice and then go back.
I think that's awesome. And one of the greatest things of what was a really great Olympic Winter Games in February was watching this country fall in love with its curling team and fall in love with a sport that was very unfamiliar to them just over the space of a couple of weeks. It was marvelous.
all over the internet with videos and memes and jokes.
Young me, young me. Two corner guards for Korea.
I've heard even school children, when they were sweeping up and in the classrooms, they'd be screaming, "Young me,
Young me, young me."
The famous call by Kim Won-jung.
Yes.
下楼 K， 3局稍微近一点，三局整体，等一等，下楼 K， 下楼 K。
Young Mi Kim, of course, the lead player for Team Kim Won-jung, who represented Korea at the Winter Olympics. Very popular team.
Really a big team effort to get that stone across the center line.
Yeah, big brushing. Lee Jung-jae.
来，你左右，
좋아야 돼. 예스.
好，
좋아, 백진아.
什么都往这边踢，
좋다.
Just pushes them around a little bit.
OK。
Korea with last rock here on 4.
3秒，
They're in a bit of trouble here.
2秒到，2秒到。
Xiao Julin
Yep.
trying to leave China lying 3.
OK。
Noses it. I think they were looking for a little bit of an inside roll there. Sander didn't get it, so maybe this is something that Korea can use.
Yeah, just nibbling the rings, but for sure to make the hit off the shot stone here, rolling behind either of those stones in front on the left.
Yep.
Lee trying the hit and roll,
踩你，踩你二，
trying to hold the line. Over curls, and it's going to roll out of the rings. Chance lost there for Korea.
我现在也是听完这个，他肯定往这儿选，但是咱这个在营里。
咋了？
我感觉咱先选的话，如果头大了，他该扎了。
我先抢他呢。
A little bit of debate here, Sander. I think Zhou wanted to clear the corner guard, but some discussion here. What are the options?
Well, if you clear the corner, the obvious shot for Korea is to maybe come around those two stones on the left. So where that corner guard sits now, the yellow stone in behind is really blocking the path to it. So I'm not sure if that corner guard's a big worry at the moment. And the call is to come around those stones on the side before Korea does.
You like the call?
Yeah, I like the call. Just make sure you're not deep here and leave something to freeze onto. Even if you're open and top 8 here, makes it a lot tougher for the Koreans.
Once again, hard work by the Chinese brushers trying to get it around that front stone. Look at it move. It's going to clip it. Sits beside it. China's lying 3, but a chance for Kim Soo-hyuk to go around those stones if they can. Let's look in at Japan versus Australia. The Aussies came up with a single point here in the second, but Matsumura of Japan again with a chance to draw for a potential 2. Left-handed thrower. This Matsumura team has had some good early season success in tournaments on the tournament trail. 2 victories already this season, and this one is going to cozy up into the button area. So another deuce for the Japanese. They're playing well early in this one. They're up 4-1. pretty nice stone in our feature game.
Yeah, just wraps right around those yellows. Slips just slightly in behind the tee line, but China's going to throw the run back here.
Wang Jiu. Is it going to curl enough? Goes across the top.
Yeah, that red stone is still buried.
Well, much as we saw the momentum shift in that third end, now good chance for Korea to set up a pair and a potential three if they can sink one here. Jeong Byung-jin.
정자 티라이까지 와야 돼. 아, 일단 2번 돼야 된다. 계속 와줘.
Lee squared on the brushes. Lee and Lee. Gets a piece of the rings, might be third shot, but they really wanted that one around that Yellowstone in the 12-foot. They'll be disappointed. Joe has to be a bit careful with this one, Sander. There is a chance if he makes an error that Korea could make an angle run in on lie 3 if he was somehow to throw this one through the rings, but looks like he's going to try and freeze up to it, do you think?
Looks to be. I think we expect players of this caliber to at least be in the rings somewhere. A throw through the rings, quite rare, but like we said, first game of the championship, just getting used to the ice a little bit, and now changing up the call actually.
Interesting. Yeah, probably the bigger risk on a come around is actually over curling and clipping the front stone, but yeah, they have changed their call. Now they're going to try and run the front stone in. I'm not sure I love this call, to be honest, Sander.
You have a bit more room for error with the draw. This is a hit or miss, really.
Well, he does clip it out. Now, do you play the angle raise to try and leave yourself lying 2? Seems to be what Kim is looking at.
인턴보다는 턴으로
I
올게.
think that might be worth a go.
반.
Could also just draw around him.
컨트롤.
Save that shot for your last one, perhaps. But
좀 얇아도 될 거야 그래서.
maybe Kim's logic is I might not get that chance to lie 2, so better play it now. I mean, there is a chance if you hit about half the rock, came slightly across the top of that Yellowstone as we're looking at it.
컨트롤.
Could be lying 2 buried.
정자 조금만 더
Yeah,
잡자.
make the long roll across. Gonna have to be pretty perfect though.
Yeah, that'd be a big risk to try and lie 2 buried. I'm sure he'd be very happy just to be lying 2.
Coming across the nose here.
워. 워.
No, says Kim. They need the stone to curl. Will it curl enough? Gets contact. Stone's in motion. And Korea is lying 2. That's a good shot. Gets a little bit of cover behind that front stone of the stone in the front 8-foot. Kim Soo-hyuk looking it over. There you can see that stone. Maybe a third buried behind the yellow rock. Shot rock is open. That's the stone that Sojiao is going to play. Still a pretty good shot.
Yeah, that more than likely sets up for 2 here for the Koreans. We'll see if China tries to make the hit and roll, but this stone in behind the tee line, very hard to make a flat enough roll to sit shot stone buried, but maybe at least roll half buried. Try to make this slightly more difficult than an open hit.
Noses it. will be an open hit for Korea's Kim Soo-hyuk. If he can nose this one, that would be a pair, and that would tie up the game. Pretty interesting one we've got, Sander, for the first draw of this tournament. Back and forth, lots of scoring.
Could very well be the final.
Might
At
be.
the end of the week. You never know.
Might be. 9 teams playing in this men's competition. They play a full round robin. Top 4 will advance to the semifinals. Winners of the semifinals will qualify for the World Championships.
Yep. 라인 좋아.
There it is. Nose hit for Kim. Korea scores 2. After 4 ends of play, we are all tied up 4-4.
아 근데 잘 잡혀와서 너무 괜찮아.
有俩分是得的，有俩分是得，前几天。
他是专业的，你这是完全。
完全，有俩分是得，有俩分就怕他输啊。嘿，让他啊，稍微复杂点。
从里往外击打，大掉大。
掉大点。
刚才我那个。라인 좋아. 잘해서 돌려가.
오케이.
샷.
Welcome back inside the Gangneung Curling Center. You're enjoying live coverage of the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018, our feature match. Korea versus China, all tied up at 4. Hans Frauenlob here with you with Sander Rolvagen. Sander, this one, even Steven. What do you think the teams will be thinking about as they're heading for the midpoint?
Just try and iron out a few wrinkles. We've seen some mistakes from both teams, but they should be getting more and more familiar with the ice now as it starts to even out, becomes a little more uniform in terms of speed and curl. I think we'll see a great finish to this game.
Nice come around draw there for Team China. Ice is looking good, I have to say, early in the tournament.
Yeah. It's one of the best surfaces I've seen in a long time, really. And for a first game to look this good, it's very impressive. Doesn't seem to be any frost at all. Very crisp and clean, and some vibrant colors coming off those houses as well. With the teal color, I know you like.
Yeah, love that teal 12-foot. Absolutely. This one is going into the red 4-foot circle on the tee line. Sits beside the Chinese stone. But good chance now for China to stack another one up in front of their shot rock and really generate something here as we head for the midpoint. 10 end games. Remember, if there's a tie after 10, we'll play an extra end. Opening day here in Gangneung. Tournament will continue through the week. Finals will be next weekend.
Lots of opportunity to make your way down here to watch. Book a flight.
That's true.
Come on over.
Can take the fast train from Seoul over to Gangneung. That's only a nice, easy 2-hour train ride through some beautiful countryside, the mountains. Beautiful stuff. It's a gorgeous day today in Gangneung. Late autumn day. Temperature still in the mid-teens and glorious sunshine.
한번 봐줘. 라인.
7.
라인 좋아. 끌고 가자.
7 괜찮아.
라인 좋아. 어디?
7. 8. 7.
할 수 있어 이거.
아, 탈퇴해주고 있어. 와야 돼.
야!
활동형.
라인 진짜 좋아.
활동형 조금만 더. 조금만 더 오자.
Love this one, just biting that forefoot in front of that shot stone, and that is a beauty. Great shot. This end's looking like a mixed doubles end. 4 stones in the forefoot behind a center guard.
It's clear that the team of, or the teams rather, have found their draw weight now.
Yes, indeed. Dialed in. Sander, a new innovation in World Championship qualification this year. Both the World Men's and the World Women's competition. There are 2 spots at play in a World qualifying event. So we mentioned the finalists here at the Pacific Asia Championships go directly to the World Championships. The teams that place 3rd and 4th, they receive an entry into that World qualifying event, which will be held in January. And that's the first time ever that there's been a qualifying event competition for a World Championships.
Bit similar to the Olympic qualifying event.
Yes, indeed. That's exactly right.
Second chance, as we saw China be a little fortunate here.
Yeah.
They were peeling that guard. In the end, just went straight past it, made the double, sitting 2 buried.
I meant to do that.
Run back attempt by Korea.
Ooh, nearly the raised double takeout. Just got 1. So the format for that World Qualifier event. 2 teams will come from the Pacific Asia Championships. 5 teams will come, I'm sorry, apologies, 4 teams will come from the European zone. 1 team will come from the America zone, and the host team will get a place. So 8 member associations will play in the World Qualifier, and then 2 of those will advance to the World Championships.
Another fun championship to watch.
Yes, indeed. More curling. All hands on deck for this one. 3 brushers now down to 2, down to 1. Sits a piece of the center line, just tucks a corner behind that center. Sean's a pretty happy lad. He got a good break on that earlier rock, and now he's doing it with the brush. Maybe a chance here for a double takeout, you think?
Yeah, gonna shave the guard though. Most importantly, get 1 yellow here and leave the shooter in the rings here, put some pressure on.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Jung Byung-jin. Great shot, double takeout, to the delight of the hometown crowd. That's right, that's a beauty.
It's a good weight call there. Play the more controlled weight, a little more control with the brushing. Didn't have to come as close to the guard.
You mentioned already how lively the houses and the rocks seem, so
exactly
good action there.
You can play probably a double with just board weight here, or even a hack. So no need to throw the peel weight for every time you need to remove a rock.
Nose hit there from Wang.
Still leaves it in a tough spot for Korea. Hard to make the hit and roll to the left of our screen without jamming in the back, so they might have to stay on the same side here. But perhaps leave a double back for China.
Yeah. Jung, after that great double on his first stone. Again playing a hit. Makes the hit, little outside roll. That's a nice spot. Does leave a potential double takeout. But with that little outside roll, Sander, I think the inside roll, if he makes the double, well, might be there. I don't know.
Thinking about playing a draw here. I feel like they wanted to get something going, but 5th end, you might as well play the double. Might even keep the chance of blanking this end alive. Carry the hammer.
Oh, you're right. I think from China's perspective, a blank end here, they'd be quite happy to take the hammer into 6 if they could. Straight back double. Nice shot there by Wang. So, nice takeouts from both of the third stones in this end. Jeong with a great double takeout. And now Wang with a double takeout of his own. See the time clocks in the background. That's keeping track of the thinking time that the teams have to play. That clock will stop as soon as the stone goes into motion. The clock just runs while the teams are preparing to shoot. Kim Soo-hyuk.
Yep.
좀 가운데.
오. 야,
괜찮아.
야.
에이, 좋아.
여기까지 괜찮아.
보영아.
오.
보영아.
동영. 헐.
Looking for a little inside roll behind the center, but content to just bite the front 12 foot. That's a pretty good spot.
들어갔지? 네, 들어갔어.
See.
Chance for China to go around that center guard, though, Sander.
5、6区都可以啊。
14秒5。
If they so wish. So maybe looking to set up a skip deuce here.
掉啊。
后期完了有可能还掉就掉了。
还是走，他得稍微来点儿。
进个快到3局那块儿，还是往下涨4秒5。
OK。
Xiao.
Was the alternate for China during the 2014 Olympics. They got so close to medaling, just losing out to Sweden in the bronze game. Skipped by Liu Rei.
Well clear of the guards. Is he going to get any cover at all? No, sits in the open. Weight wasn't bad, but that stone just, well, they had to work it pretty hard for weight, and maybe that was just holding the line a little wider. Good chance here for Korea then to generate the force if they can hit and get a little bit of cover.
Even if he just nose here.
Nose is pretty good, isn't there?
There's no draw in. Question is if you can nose back for the single point or if you're running out of rings by that point. But yeah, just even flop inside, tuck a corner.
Kim Soo-hyuk.
경진.
Korean skip.
헐.
Makes the hit right in the nose. And yeah, it looks like there's probably just enough room if he does nose this one for China to score, but certainly can't roll anything to the outside. Mission accomplished for Kim. He knows worst case, China's only going to score a single point.
바깥쪽으로 봤는데 우리가 이길 수도 있나?
And we saw Sander in that second end. China looked like they had a pretty routine draw shot to score a single point, came up short. Korea got a steal of 2 out of nothing, really, and kind of a similar situation here.
3秒。
It makes more sense to play the hit here, though. You're with the draw, you're going to have to come quite far out. Good chance he'll hit a different path. It's going to be a bit more of a guess. Should have pretty good control here. Controlled weight, a couple of good sweepers. Nose, I think, is just enough.
Waiting for it to curl. Is he going to get to the nose? Well, it's the little outside roll. Will it stick around? I think it's just spun back in. Gonna have a look at it. Yes, it is agreement. It is a single point for China, but it's a force for Korea. As we reach the midpoint, China leads it by a score of 5-4. play in the second end. Korea's Kim Soo-hyuk trying to pick out the Chinese stone and clips it and rolls it out of the rings. Nice shot. That set up a steal of 2 into the third. After a great angle raise, leaves a final open draw to the house for China's So Chiao. Throws it right into the forefoot, and it's a huge score of 4 for China. In the fourth, and a chance for Korea to bounce right back. Korea's Kim Soo-hyuk makes the nose hit, sticks around, and Korea ties it up 4-4 after 4 ends of play. Let's take a look at the game between Chinese Taipei and Qatar. Ahmed Al-Fahad holding the brush for Nasser Al-Yafe. His last stone of the fourth end. Al-Yafe, Ali Mohsen on the brushes. Pushes the Taipei stone out of the rings. And it's a single point for Qatar. Chinese Taipei leading that one 4-2 after 4. Let's take a look at the game between Japan and Australia. Red stone belongs to the Japanese. So it's a tough final stone here for Australia's Dean Hewitt.
Where?
Whoa, in!
It's here. Whoa!
Steve Johns, Dustin Armstrong on the brushes.
Okay. Whoa.
Oh, very nice shot by young Dean Hewitt. It's a single point for Australia. Coolly drawing the pin for a single point. Let's update all the matches. Our feature game, China's leading Korea by a score of 5-4. Hong Kong leading Kazakhstan at the midpoint 4-2. Chinese Taipei 4-2 over Qatar. Japan leading Australia by a score of 4-2 here at the Gangneung Curling Center. Statistical comparison center, not much to choose between the teams in total shooting percentage terms, but that 2 stolen points by Korea, keeping them in this game, but pretty even.
Yeah, I'd say so. Both teams have made good shots. Both teams have had a couple of mistakes, both on draws and hits, really. Kind of evened out. I've had, especially that second and third end was that bit key to the game.
Yeah, that missed guard in the third really opened the door for China to score that 4.
There's been less mistakes though in the last 2 ends, so getting more and more to grips with the ice here. Another good draw.
Korea's got last rock here in the 6th. 10-end game. Neither team have used their timeout yet. Lee Dong-hyung, Korean lead. not a great deal of international experience except for Kim Soo-hyung on this Korean team. So do you think it's an advantage for them to have the tournament at home?
I was just going to say, probably makes it a little more comfortable to be at home for our first big international championship in terms of time zone, no jet lag, homey food and homey people and fans. Should help.
Gangneung, 90%. Just in the free guard zone. If that stone was touching the rings, it would not have the protection of the free guard zone rule. It's the only situation, Sander, where you can call an official on the ice to make a measure before the end is over. Lee Dong-hyun, 83%.
You get the biter out.
Get the biter measure out. Yeah.
I had a friend once who did that. Called for the measure to see if he could hit the stone. The call was it was in the rings, but changed his mind. Left it.
Just wanted to get the official to do something, right? That should get you like a yellow card, I think, if you do something like that.
Yeah.
粘自己的，OK，粘自己，他一打也是相关。行，或者5区也可以。稍微给我收一点。那我第一个来就行。
Xiao Shulin. Asking for a little bit less ice on this outturn. He's at 83%.
5、4、4、5，下路 K 4、5、5区5、6。
It's a little bit similar.
6、7、
This end as well.
6颗。
That second throw from China just coming, or Korea rather, just coming up slightly wide and deep.
Yes, a party in the forefoot starting to form.
You might see the party breaks coming on though.
Team Korea trying to ruin the party. Lee Jung-jae, 65%.
Yeah, just looking to keep that center open, bring the play towards the corner guard. It's a very nice shot.
And the party is over. Nice shot.
Removes his own red, but gets 2 yellows going. Rolls the shooter over towards that corner guard, even nibbles the rings. Everything's very much in the open. That's a really good curling shot.
Have another look at it. Rocks flying out of the forefoot in that delivered stone, cozying maybe a corner behind that corner guard. It's certainly on the rings. There you see just a corner hidden.
A little bit of an inside-out motion there. A little shaky on release. Does make contact.
Gets a piece. Pushes his own stone through the rings. Now, I like this call, Sander. Gonna ignore the shot rock. Let's take another look at that delivery. A little speed wobble there on the release, as Sander so astutely picked out. Catches it thin. Back to the live action, and Korea is going to ignore the stone in the rings, and they're going to duck it around that corner guard. I like this call.
Yep. If you're going to get something going, you're going to have to make an aggressive call. It's the 6th end. It's a good time to score as well. Especially in the second half of the game, you start looking at that scoreboard thinking, well, if you score in all the even ends, we get to score 3 times. If you leave the opponent scoring in the odd ends, they only score 2. As there are more even ends left than odds.
Just a bit of a teaser. That one was out. Too good. Got around the corner. It actually popped out on the board side. So China gonna be able to make a play at it.
Teaser indeed. That's where you really don't want to overcurl. Take the corner guard into the house.
Yes.
Saw that not too long ago. And the question is, do you really want to stick around here on the nose like that? Not sure if that helps you a lot, because now comes the freeze with backing. So you either want to roll in towards the 8 foot in the open, or maybe just roll out. Could prove more troublesome for them, leaving that there.
Let's see if Jiang Myung-jin can weld one around the corner and sit on top of that Chinese stone. 88% for the game, at the 3rd position for Korea.
Doesn't even have to be fully locked on the yellow here, just get some good angles.
Well, this one is tracking wide. There's no freeze, so they're going to try and sweep it deep to get some cover behind the corner guard. Second shot, but I don't know how much protection that stone's got. And there's a great look at it. Half open. China will be able to make a play at it. Wang Qiyu.
A little bit of an inside-out motion there as well. You saw the trailing foot just popping out, slight anti-clockwise rotation in the slide, and then the pop back, floating the stone a bit wide. It doesn't curl enough. Some players might do that every single time, but if you don't, that's a bit of an anomaly.
Yeah, the one thing that every skip on earth will tell you that they'd love to see from their team is just consistency on their delivery, even if it's funky. Be consistently funky.
Yeah. Again, Korea just slipping a little bit deep, not really taking advantage of that yellow stone on the wing.
Better cover, but a short angle raise available for China to remove that one, but it's going to be a draw. Interesting call. Let's take a look in at Chinese Taipei and Qatar. Chinese Taipei playing the red stones. Looks like they're already lying too, so great chance here for Chinese Taipei's Randy Shen to draw to potentially score 3.
Just get it there. Get it, T-line.
Clean it, clean.
All we need is T-line.
This team from Chinese Taipei have come so close in this competition over the years. Will this be the year that they can break through?
Okay.
Nice shot there by Shen. And it is a 3-point end for Chinese Taipei. They lead that one 7-2. Qiu Jiao. He's electing to play the draw. Jiang and Xiao on the brushes. I want to weld this one right on top of that Korean stone. Here it comes. That's a nice shot.
Sits in front, sits 2, no double really for Korea.
There's a cross-house roll available for Kim, but in terms of where he needs to have that stone come to rest after the roll, he's really not got many good places to leave it. Chen Wang discussing it.
Well, by hitting this yellow stone on the forefoot, probably leaves a bit more room for the last stone. An option could have been to play a corner freeze on that stone just played by China.
There's that roll. Gets a little nudge, sits behind. That's not a bad result.
That is actually
Not
quite good.
A bad result. A little fist pump there from Kim So-hyuk. Got that inside roll. Actually rolled underneath the stone. And left himself half buried. Let's have another look. There's the hit, there's the inside roll, and watch where it comes to rest. Clips that stone and kind of squirts behind it, leaving himself sitting shut. And are we one? Are we one? Yes, we are. So China's got to be a little cautious here. It's really the same shot that Zhou just threw, but any little error here and Korea can score a pair.
Yeah, never mind playing the same shot again. Should be pretty close for this one. Just taking perhaps a hair more ice here.
Zhou Xiao.
Could sit just corner frozen on their own yellow for shot stone, or come all the way down onto the red. A little bit of room for error. A couple of options.
No, that's a very nice stone there from Zhou Xiao.
Not sure if it's possible to score 2 here now for the Koreans.
I'm just looking at the same thing. Is there a shot for 2 here?
무리하지 않고 1점만 따도 괜찮아.
그냥 여기로요?
Well, after a bit of a look at it, the decision is made to just draw for a single point.
여기 폭포만 물려.
1 stone to come here in the 6th end.
웨트.
우리끼리 2번.
To score 2, I think Korea would have had to make too much of a gamble, so they're looking the overhead. Would really have to come down, just get across the nose of that stone. Way too risky, so Kim Soo-hyuk electing to draw for a single point.
Same spot where China came up short against 2 in the 2nd end.
백퍼까지 괜찮아.
Lee and Lee jumped that one right out of hand. They're a bit worried about it being
가야 돼.
light.
여기잖아.
Lee, Jiang, Lee trying to sweep this thing into the 8-foot full, and very nicely brushed there by Team Korea. Stone comes to rest, biting the 4-foot. It's a single point for Korea, and after 6 ends of play, once again we're all tied up at 5.
네, 다섯.
다섯 좋아.
다섯.
나는
다섯.
괜찮아. 웨트만.
천천히 할게요. 천천히 할게.
다섯 좋아.
죽고 있어.
룰.
7th end action here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. You're enjoying live coverage from the Gangneung Curling Center, the Olympic curling venue. Hans Frauenlob here with Sandra Olvag. Opening day, first draw, the men's competition. And we've got a barn burner. Korea versus China. We are all tied up at 5. Anybody's game. And as 2 of the stronger teams in this competition, Sandra, they're playing a single round robin head-to-head win. Huge for both of these teams, really, even though this is the very first game of the round robin. Could be really important by the time we get to the end of the round robin phase. Lee Dong-hyung.
Korea coming into the rings. Being the 7th end, China now thinking, well, we don't want to be scoring in the odd ends. We want to perhaps keep an opportunity to blank and gain control of those even ends and get that slight advantage that we touched on earlier. So it's a huge mistake by Korea to come into the rings.
Xiang Dunju way out to the wings. Has he got a piece? No! It blows by on the outside. Wow, big mistake there. It's hard to do, miss it on the high side so close to the boards. Here's another look at it. Look at this. Just by the outside. And oh my goodness. Great chance here for Korea now to really split the house, get lots of separation between the stones. They would love to force China to score one here. Big work by Lee and Jung. Nice brushing there from Team Korea. Good draw weight, and they lie too. The pad fabric on all of the brushes is the same fabric a few years ago. Curling, there we see Kim taking a look at the time clock. That's why all the pads are mustard yellow. And once again, flirting with the boards. Got some contact this time.
Might be just a bit of a straight spot out there.
Yeah, you don't tend to play many stones out to that extreme wing of the sheet like that, where you're actually giving away the rings on the outturn side when you're playing a hit. So sometimes it can hit some fresh pebble or a straight spot, as you say, and it can really fool you.
And sometimes you're thinking, well, we haven't played out there. Might be a little fresh.
The weight up a little bit,
pop it a bit. Pop it a bit.
Yeah.
And then it's all nice and keen like the rest of the sheet. You get tricked.
Yes.
Twice in a row for China, you might think, yeah, maybe it's not curling as much in that spot. Just the ice.
Yeah, it's a situation where you really have to believe what your eyes are telling you. Even though in your heart you're thinking that should have curled, you just saw what happened, right? So you gotta believe it.
Usually the best thing to do. And that's where communication is so key, and being able to trust your teammates and being honest. If you're honest about saying, okay, I popped that one, or no, I threw that one good, it's just straight, and you can believe it, very much easier for the next person.
Mistake there, Korea through the rings. Let's quickly update the scores in the other matches. Hong Kong leading Kazakhstan 5-2. Chinese Taipei 7-2 over Qatar. Japan with a 5-2 lead over Australia. Back in our feature match on Sheet A, we are knotted up at 5. Bit of a sloppy end here, Sander, from both teams. Saw the missed guard on the first stone. We've seen an open hit. We've seen a hit and roll out. Net effect of all of that, it's kind of good for China, really. They, as you said earlier, they would love to blank this end and keep the hammer into the 8th.
Korea with some desperate, a desperate attempt to get something going in this end, throwing the center guard. Hoping to lure China into coming around, but pretty sure they'll peel that one away.
No dice, says Zhou Jiao. I'm not going to fall for that one. Immediately up to call for the peel from Wang Jiao. Nice shot there from Wang. Peels it out. So now Kim Soo-hyuk says, that was a bit of a scary spot over there on the wing. Let's put it back there and see what happens. green light on the stone indicating a legal delivery. We are using the automatic hog line detection system here in Gangneung.
정지야 사이드로 와도 돼. 정지야 사이드로 빼줘.
천천히 할게요 좀.
웨이 좋아, 웨이
더
좋아.
빠져야 될 것 같아. 앞으로. 조금만 더 빼줘. 조금만 더 빼줘.
샷.
Right there into that Bermuda Triangle area again. Let's see what China does this time.
이거 몇 쳐?
After you see a couple go straight on that outturn, you kind of creep the brush inside, and then all of a sudden you pick up a slightly different patch and it moves on you. Let's see what happens here for Wang Qiu.
It's important to make one adjustment though, not two.
Yeah.
So either you throw it differently or you move the brush in. Don't do both, you might overcompensate, but no such thing here. Still maybe not believing how straight that spot is.
That was really straight. Watching that one, still hit half a rock and it still seemed to be moving out a little bit.
And that's what I mean when you can trust your teammate before you. If he says it's straight and you believe him, it might be a little easier to make the shot.
We see Wang and Zhou.
这零那个也是。
Yeah, that was pretty straight.
翻的你还可以，但你这个就在下。
Kim Soo-hyuk
라인 좋아.
trying to draw this one on the other side of the rings.
스위치로 오자.
정진아
스위치로
사이드로
와도
빼줘.
충분해. 정지가 와야 돼.
정진아 더 빼줘.
여기까지 와도
정진아 더
괜찮아.
빼줘.
정지 계속 와야 돼. 정지 와야 돼.
유준아 괜찮아.
First draw here tonight. There will be another men's draw following tomorrow morning, and then the women's competition will get underway tomorrow afternoon. These men's teams attempting to qualify for the World Championships, which will be held next April in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. And Sander, even though this year's World Championships isn't a Olympic points accumulation qualifier, what the teams do know is if they compete in Lethbridge, they will at least qualify themselves for the Olympic qualifying event. So going into the first year of an Olympic cycle, it's actually really important to qualify for a World Championships, because then you can at least, as a country, plan your four-year Olympic cycle with the knowledge that you're at least going to be competing in the Olympic qualifying event if you don't qualify directly for Beijing.
That way you always have a chance.
Kim Soo-hyuk.
계속 와줘. 끝까지. 끝까지 와.
샷.
Hits and sticks around.
네.
China will try to hit and roll out and blank the end. Let's see if Zhou Qiao can execute the blank.
There's always a bit of pressure on the final shot.
Yeah.
It's like a penalty kick in football or soccer, where you're supposed to make it, but all eyes on you.
Indeed.
Straightforward, you can do this 100 times in a row in practice, but sometimes thoughts creep in. Can't nose it.
Well, they called it immediately for the sweep out of hand. They think it's a little narrow. Trying to hold the line. Remember, he wants to hit the rock. He does not want to stick around, but he does. Korea gets a cheap force. Nose hit for Zhou Qiao of China. He's disappointed. They score a single point, but that's what Korea wanted. They get the force. China leads it 6-5 after 7.
往那边打，就往这边边区，我感觉应该是一样的。这边直完，这边有点下线，就往这边倒的。
How will this eighth end unfold? China leading at 6-5 over Korea at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. And remember, we're playing the 5-rock free guard zone rule. Korea with last rock here, Sander, and wouldn't be at all surprised to see 2 Korean guards here in this situation. They really need to score a pair here.
At the same time, you don't want to go too hard for it. You know, you can throw one corner and then ignore the yellow stones in the center line.
Right.
Come around your corner.
Exactly.
Your opponent still can't remove the corner guard. So if you're fully buried on the next one, it's still looking pretty good.
Yeah, if you're going to throw a guard, throw it close to the rings, and that one's in a nice spot. Here we go. Lee Dong-hyung. Jiang with a little bit of an advantage in the shooting percentage area.
3、3、3、3线路，线路 K，少一点的。
二区，2、3门底，3门底。
线路非常好。
停带就行。
稍微擦一擦三区，可以擦一擦。
Heavy clean。
3，可以擦下线。
可以下一点，林子，3区
2、
，Go。下来了。
So this is going to be the interesting call, I think, Sander. What will Kim do? Corner freeze?
It looks to be.
It's to draw a stone right on top of the Chinese stone behind the guard. Sit right on top of it, or at least as much of it as you can get to.
Only trailing by 1, so throwing another guard or coming around the corner, which is slightly difficult now because where that yellow guard is placed. But just leave a chance for the opponent to throw another guard. You're on the back foot. You need to open things up. Sometimes there's not enough time to do so.
No corner freeze here as he goes past the target stone. A little bit heavy, a little bit wide, comes to rest at the back of the forefoot.
Keeps the play in the rings, at least.
Korea does have last rock here in the 8th.
The good part is they're forcing China to come into the rings, and now in the next one they can start making a play on that yellow center guard and try and open things up.
You know, this is one of those classic game situations where if you're the team with last rock, you're thinking you'd love to score 2 and you kind of get control that way. But as you say, Sander, it can backfire a little bit if you're pushing too hard for the deuce. Sometimes just scoring in the even end, keeping that even end hammer is way more important. Stone sliding past the tee line. China line 2. That stone is available for Korea. Looks like he's going to make a play on that stone in the back forefoot and roll to the left, Sander. Do you like it? I don't love this call.
I'd be tempted to look at the top billows maybe. make the roll. You're not lying short.
Oh, they're really working this one. Is it going to overcurl? Catches it thin. They really want to hang around, but it is going to spill out of the rings. Wait for a look at it. Maybe it's spun back. They're taking a long look at it. Does look like there's a little white paint there between that stone and the rings. Be the kind of stone, if Korea had a chance, that they would measure it.
I think it might be on the rings.
Might be. Xiao holding a solid edge over Lee in shooting percentage. No bounce, no bounce, little bump. Pretty good. With those lively rocks, Sander, would you be thinking about running that top one back into the pile and maybe spring the ball?
Yeah, I think so. You can make all 3 yellows go here. Not easy, but if you can get 2 at least, it's a good start.
Nose hit would kill 2. A little bit on the high side might kill 3. One, two. Leaves China lying 1 in the top 4-foot. Pretty good shot, though. Those front stones now, both Korean and usable as run backs. It's always nice to have 2 options on those front stones, Sander. Can't guard them both. Got a straight back, you've got an angle run.
Yeah, China knows this, so they're going to come into the rings here. Freeze that back red.
Good communication here from the brushers. Oh, very nice shot, very nice shot. China lies 2. Good read. Great weight communications from the front end. Let's take a look at Kazakhstan, Hong Kong. Victor Kim holding the brush. Final stone on its way for Abalaikan Zhushbai. This one looks a little hot. It does slide to the back ring. And that's a steal for Hong Kong, and they take a 6-2 lead after 6. Jason Chang and his team. Let's take a look in at Japan, Australia. Japan holding a 5-2 lead. Final stone for Australia's Dean Hewitt.
Where?
Dean doesn't look too happy.
Yep. Yep. Oh, we lost it. Yep.
No, I heard Jay Merchant say we lost it. An angle tap, it pushes it away from the 4-foot. That's a steal for Japan. They're leading that one 6-2. Yeah, Dean saying far out. He wasn't really happy with how that one tracked. In our feature match, China lying 2. Korea with last rock here in the 8th.
Yeah, attempted run back by Korea, only clipped the guard. So Trying to look to replace it, but over curls. Just nibbling the top 12.
Very good game at third for Korea, and a big shot here for Korea. Makes the double, jams it on the back, but does leave Korea lying two.
Might have left the same shot for the Chinese, though. For them to potentially sit 3.
Yeah. Double takeout available for China. Hit that top redstone right on the nose, drive it straight back. Even hit it on the high side and make it across the top. A couple of options, and that seems to be the way they'd want to play it. Xiao wanting to hit about 3/4 on the brush side, trying to make a double takeout. It must be close. Oh, great shot from Xiao. China lies 3. What a beauty. Gets the roll behind the corner guard just as cream on top of the cake. Let's have another look at this one, Sander.
Well, you called it. Could catch the high side as well. Less risky way of playing it. Not having to come too close to that top stone. Leaves more room for Korea, though.
Here's the comparison between the fourth players. Kim Soo-hyuk at 88%, but what a wonderful double takeout there from Xiao. Still a chance here, though, for the Koreans. They've got last rock to get their pair. Must make this one pretty good, though.
Question is, how deep do you want to put it? You can't put it so high the run back becomes easy, but you don't want to come so deep. The freeze is available for China. Maybe try and put this top button.
Top button would be position A. Sweeping it for distance and line. They want to get some curl. They need some protection. Perfect weight, but maybe not hidden perfectly behind the guard. Had to go really hard for weight on that one. It's at least half buried. It's definitely in a spot for the Chinese. They're going to have to be a little bit careful. There's a great look. You can see 2/3 buried. And as you said, Sander, just got that amount of separation to make this run back. It's a 6-foot run back, but it's not a gimme. A lot of separation there. Needs to hit this one. You're actually thinking nose hit really in this situation, aren't you?
Yeah, maybe the sweeper's going to hold this for you. Catch it here high. Quite happy to just make contact here, make that redstone go. But you make it perfect. You might even stick the guard underneath the throne rock.
Looked like he floated that one a little bit. They're not laying a brush to it. Is it going to curl enough? He's got a piece. Oh, he just gets it. Dodged a bullet there, Zhou Dejiao.
Well, he threw the controlled weight there. Allowed the stone to curl a bit. You throw it harder. It's not going to come back for you, but give it a chance.
See the hand signal there from Zhou. Ah, track straight. I think he just floated that one a little inside out. Don't think it was that straight. Got the job done, though. And now, big shot here. Final stone on its way. Kim Soo-hyuk needs to draw a piece of the 8-foot circle to score a single point and keep that crucial last rock advantage on the even ends.
Exact same shot here.
Sweepers seem pretty happy with it. This one's going to slide a little deep, though. No problem. Single point for Korea. Kim Soo-hyuk. Draws the back of the forefoot after 8 ends of play. Seems we've been saying this right through the game. We are all tied up at 6.
투가드까지 생각하고 써야 되겠다. 일단 원가드 잘 들어오면 프리즈 또 하나 가드 더. 자 이제는 맞지.
完了之后，他要上位的话，完了再来可以，或者咱得2分也可以。
得2分也可以。
Fans of all ages here at the Gangneung Curling Center enjoying the action here in the opening draw. It's live curling coverage from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. Feature game all tied up at 6 after 8 ends of play, Korea versus China. Hans Frauenlob here with you, joined by Sander Rolbach. Hope you're enjoying the action, we sure are. An intriguing situation here. How do you play this 9th end all tied up in the 5 rock free guard zone era?
Well, call was to just draw the wing here. And of course, if the team with last don't want to put up a corner guard, the 5 rock rule doesn't really come into effect as much anymore. When you play without the hammer and you throw up a center guard, it's still really the same. China was just looking to draw the wing there, keep the play away from the center, but still leave something for Korea on the wing to worry about. Not able to do that though. And of course, when you draw the wing like that, that's an indication that you want to blank the end, which would be a really good option for China. Have a tight score and just try and score that single point in the 10th end for the win. Korea's going to try to do quite the opposite, and that's great lead play, 2 center guards. Lots of separation on the center line to try and get something going in that red forfeit.
Xiang Dongzhu.
5区最好啊，别太深，别太深，5区最好。
Quite an important stone early in this 9th end.
线路非常好。
Korea has stacked those center guards.
We'll put this around top 8, top 4. Take control of the forefoot, leave something in the way for Korea. It's a pretty good shot.
Very nice.
时间很富裕啊，时间很富裕。
For Korea, do you start thinking now, follow it down, play for the force, give them 1? Or is that a bit risky?
Well, it's playing for the steal and the force. It's a little bit the same at this point. Just trying to make the best out of the forfeit situation, tucked in behind those center guards. If you can get a good second shot, you're happy to get the force, but if you're in the position to steal, you might take that as well.
Well by the guard. Willing this one to curl. Just 2 feet heavy. Not an awful spot, but they would have liked that one front forefoot instead of back forefoot. Let's look in at Japan, Australia. Look at all those red rocks facing Dean Hewitt. That's not a happy situation for the Aussies.
Yep, line. Hot line.
Johns and Armstrong on this one immediately out of hand.
Hot line. Yes. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, nice brushing there from the Australian front end. Steve Johns, the veteran, getting it done with a brush.
Great shot.
Single point for Australia, they close it up to 6-3.
Yep.
Lee Jungjae.
라인만. 와우.
셋.
빨라.
넷.
와우.
라인 많아, 라인 많아.
아니야, 마지막에.
라인이 많아. 아, 붙으면 안 좋아. 기다려.
Trying to stack these guards again. Don't want this one to slide too deep. Gets a piece of the center line. Pretty good shot. There's Jungjae. Zhou now clearing center guards.
1대1.
It's a situation for China, Sander, where even if Korea were to steal a single point, not disastrous from a Chinese perspective. But it's kind of a situation where you don't really want to score just one.
Sometimes you see teams, if they have the option, taking one or giving away one, might play for giving away the
You
one.
can have it.
Yep. That's statistically, there's it's fairly 50-50. It comes a little bit down to the comfort of your team and maybe looking at your own statistics for what's worked out well for you in the past. But I think most teams just like the control of last stone.
In the final end.
Yeah,
or the 10th end.
you're the one making the shot for the win rather than hoping for a miss.
Right. So Korea again stacking those centers, and now Wang and Zhou saying, well, do we need to think about doing something differently? They have called timeout. They will take an opportunity to size up their options. This is an important decision here. China's lying one, but the center guards are up and they represent some danger. Coach Zhang taking the long way home to get to the conference. And we can see the time clock in the background running down, so 39 seconds left in the timeout.
清一个，他如果粘一个，
他粘一个，你传，轻张那一点，把脚退了就行。要是还是咱自己，你就反粘那个，没问题。你有1分在里面，反粘一个再出一个，这样。
你得去看2分呗。
给他1分去。不是可以看2分，他现在不知道你先清了，他旋粘你没力劲，你再给他做个脚，反粘给你，1分完就得。OK，不着急。
OK，
可以。他要粘的话不行。
可以。OK。
后手打一个。
清一个就行。
So time for a quick chat there with the coach. So, after some discussion about drawing it into the ring, Sander, it looks like Coach Zhang has counseled them to do something with those stones in the front, saying those are the ones that are going to hurt us, guys.
Yeah, just clipping the top one here. I like that yellow stone in the top four. Such a good spot. It's hard for Korea to really put any pressure on China. So just peel the top one here and say, okay, ball's in your court, Team Korea, and make a good one.
You can see where the brush of Kim is right now. Looked like he wanted to play a freeze to the back, but now they're talking about it. Are they going to call timeout? Haven't done it yet. Yes, they will. Korea will now use their timeout.
Do see that sometimes.
Yes.
The back-to-back timeouts.
붙어버리게 나을까?
가드는 일본이라 지금 두 번 더 했다가 가드 약간 센터 쪽 쓰고 쟤네가 좋게 들어가면 해결하기가 너무 힘들어지니까.
근데 저 컵 넣을 때 만약 노란색 지나가면 쑤셔 넣어야 돼. 최대한 일자로 만들어놓는.
나 일단 웨이트야. 맞고 벌어지면 절대 안 돼.
앞에 거 붙어도 그게
차라리 약해야 돼.
붙어도 벌어져도 다 보이면 안 될 것 같아.
들어오게 차라리 막는 게.
차라리 그냥 일곱 반 모르게 쓰는 게 나아. 나중에 그 다음 샷으로 정리할 수 있게.
So, Korean coach Lee Jae-ho joins the conference.
근데 약간은 이쪽으로 치우치지 않게 센터 쪽이나 조금만 이쪽으로 내게 완전히 가리지 말고.
저희
지금
생각
얘가 1번이라
넣을 것 같아.
이라인으로 가려놓고 쟤네가 들어오면 그때 네가 프리즈도 지금 여기서 프리즈 들어가서 1번이 안 되잖아.
저희 거에
뒤에 거다 우리 거에다 붙이고.
우리 거에 붙여서.
안 되면 너란들 앞에 반 보이게 붙여야 돼.
근데 우리 거에 붙이면 쟤네가 와서 또 붙인단 말이야. 그러면 우리가 백가드를 다 만들어주는데 뭐하러 우리 거에 붙여?
그러면 지금 여기는
노란 거에 붙여야지.
헤더 런백이에요.
차 여기 나쁘진 않아. 어차피 세컨샷에 형님 첫 샷에 때리면 돼.
근데 여기 붙여놓고 런백 하다가 날아가 버리면 바로 1점밖에 안 주니까.
Both teams with plenty of time available to complete their shots for the match.
하나 더 하자고. 근데 제가 만약에 제 초보샷이잖아요.
여기에 와 버리면
붙였는데 그때 막아버리면 이게 좀 애초 그냥 이걸로. 예.
여기.
프리즈? 오케이.
여기도 괜찮아. 반 보이게.
안 세게 올게. 닦아올게.
So, after all the discussion, they seem to have settled on a corner freeze. And a draw on top of that Chinese stone. There we see the tablet being carried by Coach Lee. Illustrate for the athletes what he had in mind. Kim Soo-hyuk holding the target for Jeong Byung-jin. Of the options available, Sander, would this have been your choice?
You're going to have to do something.
Yeah, you can't really decline.
Throw another. The way China was considering a shot before this, you throw another center guard, you have the feeling that China might come into the house and try and go for the two, so you don't want to call them on their bluff necessarily. So
the freeze executed really nicely there by Jeong. It actually curled almost too much. Would have maybe liked to have a little bit better angle to keep the angle away from the stone in the back of the forefoot, but that's a very good shot.
Now perhaps comes the shot that China was talking about, just top button, just precisely past their own yellow, set two.
Well, this is getting interesting now. Both teams have used their timeout, so it's up to them now.
站到这儿，站个错脚，他一打，这后面那个也没。
咱没啥太大用，这个脚他直接可能就直接斜着走。
你要不抢这条线，他该站自己。
对，这条线必须得抢。
你投到这块儿，他最好像我就是克你一点，给你投到这儿，他球里边儿处理不了。
Yellow rock belongs to China.
不抢这条线，他往这一粘。
对，主要他现在这个抖，
他就赢你那个了。
They are shot. China line one.
这回直接就外脚打脸。
外点就是这儿。
落区。
可以，就是跟咱球平。
可以。
这有第二个。
还是有没有别的传一点儿？
传一点那个脚头稍微出来点，一冲全没。
我要是头甩过来的话，他这球往这儿走，他可能直接冲进。
OK，
可以吧？稍微磕。
头只要甩出来一冲全没了。
这点。
Top button, Sander?
I believe so. It's pretty much the shot they were discussing before this.
Not much room for error, though, is there?
Not a lot. You come frozen on the back red. Probably see Korea come right on top.
Look at them all lined up.
Ever over curl. Touch that red stone just played by Korea. You might spin to a spot where there's a double.
Wang Jiyu.
6、7、6、7、6、7，尽量很好。6、7、6，我感觉小点啊。6，小点一起，俩一起，稍微小一点。6，力量。线路非常好。6、7、6、7，线路非常好。稍微小一点。
Leave it short here, it might be a double as well.
可以掉线了。
2下线。
Jiang and Xiao digging in.
Looks pretty close.
Okay.
Did they get second shot? I think they did.
That's
Just.
very good attempt. Just didn't quite finish for them.
他差你这俩都没有人。
感觉差不多。
China's lying 1 for sure. We think 2.
스테이 약간 안쪽
We're hoping to tuck a quarter of the rock in behind that red and yellow in the top 4. But leaves it fully open. So Kim So-hyuk's going to play a nose hit, although now it's called a technical timeout.
Okay, something not quite right. So asking the timekeeping official to stop the clock. Perhaps a problem with the hog line detection device that's in the rock, the handle of the rock. There we see the time clock stopped.
Yeah, sometimes a faulty handle, sometimes just the battery's running out.
And there we see head ice technician Sean Olsen coming to do a little maintenance.
Maybe it's just a loose handle.
Maybe a loose handle.
So that's tightened up, ready to go. Not wasting any time here.
No, pulled the trigger really quick.
That's a thing that can throw you off a little bit in your pre-shot preparation.
Sweeping this one to try and get maximum curl. How much? It's gonna jam. Did he just rush it, do you think, Sander? Anyways, jams on the back. Korea still frozen for second, so it's not disastrous, but not really what they were hoping for. Let's look in at Japan, Australia. Yellow stones belong to Australia. Final stone on the way for Yuta Matsumura. Sweeper's not touching it. It rolls a bit to the wing but sticks around. Single point for the Japanese, so they move out to a 7-3 lead with 2 to play. Once more to the breach, Sander. Gonna try this shot again.
Yep. Almost side by side with that yellow. Just a few inches deeper. You don't want to come too tucked around your own yellow. Might set up that run double for the Koreans.
Kim So-hyuk, this 9th end, as you'd expect in a game that's been so close right through, just ratcheting up in importance and tension. So, plan B. It's going to slide deep and into 3rd shot position. Well, well. force is absolutely on for Korea if they want to play the back stones, but now do you think about something a little bit different and maybe try to set up a steal?
Don't think you're playing that run anymore.
No.
With that many L's in the house.
No, that would be risky.
Probably just a draw to come around everything.
Sam Pat has brushed beside his own shot rock. Surely he doesn't want to leave it high in the house, does he?
There's enough finish here.
Set up
You'd
a
think,
sideways double. There's the Korean bench.
See the vice skip now pointing to just the back of the button.
Yeah, that's a safer play for sure.
So I just want to throw this as deep as possible, but still be shot, and you maximize the curl. Should be able to get at least half buried behind those two stones in the top four. At least make it tough for China to score two.
This is all about making it really hard for China to score two. Oh, very nice shot. But is the shot for two still there for Zhou Dejiao?
You could see how much finish that had in the end. It was almost had a foot of room on the top red in the house there. Still half buried. You can see them making the switch here to get the extra finish. Just came a bit late.
Trying for maximum finish. Perfect weight. Stone curls another half a centimeter. This shot may not be there for China, but might be there with back 4 foot weight to push that Korean stone back the 2 feet necessary for China to score two. Delicate shot coming up here for Zhou Dejiao. Last stone of the 9th. Here we go.
Got to make sure not to overthrow it. You want that angle coming in from the side with the finish.
They're really working this one. Oh, what a great job there by the Chinese pair, brushing that stone. China scores two. Clutch shot by Zhou Dejiao. Beautiful stone. After 9 ends of play, big pair there for China. As we go into the 10th, they lead it by a score of 8-6.
出手飘了一点点，完了开始斜着照。俩进，一个站位。我估计他们是应该奔赢。
You're enjoying live curling from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. Hans Frauenlob here with Sander Rolberg, our feature match, Korea versus China Sander, what a clutch final stone from China's Zhou Zhao on that 9th end to score what could be a crucial deuce. Great shot.
Yeah, it's a shot required by a skip sometimes, though. And now it's going to be interesting. 2-point deficit. 5-rock rule coming into play. And this is where it makes a huge difference, being 2 down in the 10th end with hammer. Hard to score 2, very hard to score 3, but with the 5-rock rule in play, it's definitely more possible. And we've seen it happen many times already this season. We've seen games where a team's been 3 down and scored a 4 to win.
Right.
And that certainly didn't happen very often before. So it'll be interesting to see how aggressively Korea will come out here. If they'll throw 2 corner guards, or if they'll just come around their own. And even if they make a play into the house and try and split the center, freeze, tap back, that corner will still remain for 1 more shot. And that's the huge difference.
We're seeing as these teams are adjusting to the 5-rock free guard zone, these situations where in the 4-rock free guard zone with a 2-point lead, it's kind of textbook how you'd play the end, but now in the 5-rock free guard zone, we see China electing to throw a tight center on their first, now coming in on their second. Very different than how you would have played this end in the 4-rock free guard zone. So teams are still trying to figure out how to defend against it as well as how to attack with it.
I don't think there's a perfect blueprint yet. You can see some teams defending lead, they might play the tick shots on the corner guards. Some throw a stone top 4, top 8, and a center guard. Keeping everything along the center line.
So many more options. A little redirection off of that corner guard, gets a little bit lucky, clips it and pushes it into that 4-foot area.
Speaking of options.
Yeah. A little fortunate there for Team Korea.
So now, if this was last year,
bombs away.
Probably see China just clip that corner guard, and there's not a lot to work with for Korea, but already now more complicated for the defending team.
You run your own.
You could. Very easy to get sucked into playing.
Into the rings. Oh boy, loving it. And the team's going to come down and have a chat. They don't like it. Your instinct with a lead is guards are bad. Question is, 5-rock free guard zone. Can't hit the red one.
咱后面那个挂吊的嘛，就是漏了这么一点点。这球离这么远，那是啥？它全漏，你要粘嘛，不太好是吧？他一找，离大点踏板，可以，不，他离我以为他这球搁这儿呢。不行，踏板打定吧，后面那个刮，对，但是先把它打掉为主。对，可以吧？可以。那离那老远了，我以为。
Guess the logic here being, Sander, even if you ran that yellow straight back, you know that Korea is just going to use that corner guard anyways.
And if you do play the run on the yellow, the shooter might roll to the opposite side, another corner guard in play.
Coach Zhang can only watch on the bench. China's already used their timeout.
Looks like they're coming after the red though with some soft weight.
Interesting.
Maybe trying to tap it back.
Might be able to get across nose and push it straight through without disturbing their own stone. Probably don't care too much if they lost their own shot in the process. As long as they don't jam. Xiao Chulin. Delicate shot. Gets the hit. A little inside flop right behind the center. Great shot.
That is a fantastic curling shot.
Delicate little hit and roll by Xiao Chulin. Great shot. It's worth another look, Sander.
Absolutely. Perfect broom placement, weight, and communication as well.
lined up, and so Lee trying to hammer these stones around, open it up a bit, gets a bit of separation. Not a bad result. Gets those stones off the button area anyways, opens up the 4-foot circle. And there we see the end of the game between Chinese Taipei and Qatar. Chinese Taipei 10-3 winners in this one. Randy Shen and his teammates open their tournament with a victory. Guard clearing time now for China. Sweepers are all over this one. It's a nose hit. Not what they wanted. Great chance now for Korea. They've got 2 guards up. They need a pair. And after that fantastic hit and roll, Zhao knows nose hit was not what they needed. Let's see if Korea can take advantage of that miscue. Lee Jung-jae. A little outside roll. Not quite enough to get cover. Panic sweep on that one, I think, Sander. They really hit that one hard, and kind of a situation where you have to gamble a little bit on the roll, and they only got just a corner hidden.
Throwing quite a bit of weight on that one as well.
That's true.
I think you can bring the weight down a little bit, have a little bit more control of the sweeping.
That's a very good point.
Of course, if they're comfortable throwing that weight and making tons of shots, that's fine, but generally speaking, bring the weight down, you get a little more control.
Wang Jiu. Hits and spills across the rings. Still well away from the scoring area, so something for Korea to work with. Chance now to duck around that corner guard. By virtue of rolling so far to the left-hand side of the rings, Korea could sit front 8-foot, still be shot fully buried. That would be a great result. That's what Jung Bae-jin is trying to get. Trying to hide something. Trying to drag this as far as they can. They want to be second shot, but no, it's off the rings. Big mistake. Update the other games. Hong Kong with a 7-4 lead over Kazakhstan. We've already seen the final score between Chinese Taipei and Qatar, and Japan with a 7-3 lead in the 10th end over Australia. I'm slightly surprised by this call, Sander, drawing around rather than clearing guards.
There are 3 guards in play. Hard to clear all of them. Clear the center guard. They come around the corner. Hard to clear both the corners, so don't mind it, but execution is always more important than the call.
Absolutely right. That stone sliding to the back of the 8-foot, so again, options here for Korea. Could freeze the one on the wing. Could freeze the one in the back. Could go around the corner. Could come around the pile on the outside. Lots of options here for Korea.
Too many, but by the looks of it.
You do get the feeling that it is important for Korea to be lying one at the end of this shot. Jung Byung-jin.
Just a straight draw around the center guard. Saying rather deeper towards the back yellow than too high.
Good looking weight. How's the line? Needed to curl another half a rock. Not bad, but not great. Didn't seem to be a lot of urgency in the brushing there, Sander. I mean, hog line in. Weren't really working it that hard. I think they dragged that one back to T line. It's probably buried. Maybe half open.
Yeah, China just looking to pick this one clean. They know that if they make contact here and kill that red stone, they can't lose the game. There's only 2 stones left for Korea.
We are down to skip rocks, and here is Zhou Xiao. Having a good game, but a really important shot here. Needs a piece. Oh, nicely played, nicely played. Zhou Xiao makes it look easy. That wasn't an easy shot. So this is the must make for Kim Soo-hyuk of Korea. Remember, Korea needs 2 to tie. That would force us to an extra end. Now we see, Sander, how big that second point in the 9th end was. Really changes this shot situation massively. Where's perfect here?
Pretty much dead buried behind that center guard. Top button, perhaps. Need some separation. They'll still have that option of coming deep onto the back yellow also. Needs to be buried though. Can't leave the same shot for Chinese skipper to peel it out.
Lots of rotation on this one. This one should finish hard.
Does it overcurl?
Yes, it has. Half open on the outturn side. A little too good for Kim Soo-hyuk.
At least does force them to play a different turn at it.
And there we see the conclusion of the game between Japan and Australia. Japan, 7-3 winners. Yuta Matsumura and his teammates claiming the win over Dean Hewitt and Team Australia. I see the Aussies in the background making their way off the field of play. And here's a chance for China's Zhou Xiao. Pick this one clean and clinch the win.
Throwing the outturn this time, bringing down the weight a little bit. More of a controlled weight to be thrown here. Bring the sweepers into play. Sounds very good.
Yeah, the on-off, usually a pretty good sign. And there it is, another great shot from Zhou Xiao. Picks the Korean stone out, and they run Korea out of rocks, clinching the victory for China. But what a pulsating game in our feature match. First game of the men's tournament here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. China clinching the victory. Great shooting by their skipper, Zhou Xiao. And here we see some of the fans here at the Gangneung Curling Center. Disappointment for Korea's Kim Soo-hyuk. Korea played really well. Such a close game. China clinching the win. confirmation of the final score. China 8 and Korea 6. And there we see the conclusion of the other match here in the evening session between Kazakhstan and Hong Kong. And Hong Kong coming out on top in that one. Final score there is Hong Kong 7 and Kazakhstan 4. Jason Chang and his teammates with an opening round win. Seventh end. China's Shou Qiao looking to blank, but he noses it, sticks around, and that's a point the Chinese didn't really want. Eighth end. Korea's Kim Soo-hyuk facing 2. Needs to draw a piece of the 8-foot. Makes it, and Korea ties it up. Ninth end. Korean stone on the button. Delicate final stone for Shou Qiao. Just trying to bump this stone and stick around. Makes it. Fantastic shot from Xiao. And it's a deuce for China. Great shot. 10th end, China runs Korea out of rocks to claim an 8-6 victory over Korea. Here's wrapping up session 1 at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships in the men's event. China 8-6 winners over Korea. Hong Kong 7-4 over Kazakhstan. Chinese Taipei 10-3 winners over Qatar. And Japan 7-3 winners over Australia here at the Gangneung Curling Center. So here are the standings after the opening round. China, Hong Kong, Japan, Chinese Taipei, all at 1-0. New Zealand had the bye tonight. Australia, Kazakhstan, Korea, and Qatar took a loss in this opening round match. Now let's have a chat with the winning skip.
An important game already, the first one. How did you feel your team performed out on the ice today?
今天这场比赛很重要，但是我们赢了。你感觉今天？
Here's Xiaoshang.
An important game already, in the first one. How did you feel your team performed out on the ice today?
今天这场比赛很重要，但是我们赢了。你感觉今天团队发挥的怎么样？
今天团队因为是第一场比赛，然后感觉团队在交流方面，然后还有扫冰方面做的都很好，就是能很快适应这个冰场。
So it's the first game for us, and we have some good communication and good sweeping. So we make some good shots today.
It looked like the ice was good out there. How did you feel about the conditions today?
你感觉今天冰面的状态怎么样？控制的好吗？
今天场地感觉非常好，然后滑度包括弧线都非常的好，然后今天感觉大家团队队伍发挥的都不错。
And he say the ice is good and the curl is good, so we can make a lot of big shots today. So everything is good. We prepare the next game.
Great, thank you, congrats.
Thank you, thank you.
So that'll do it from the Gangneung Curling Center, the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. One round in the books. Hope you join us tomorrow for Sanarolvag. I'm Hans Fraunlov. Good night from Gangneung.